Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy again, Chris here, about some more Chris Wrestling views. Today, you guys, it's early in the morning here. It's the day after Monday Night Raw that went off. I fell asleep, you guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my Raw review, give you my viewpoints over it. I'm sure many of you probably already know what happened on this show, but like I said, for me to give my viewpoints about it, then let's go ahead and get down to it. So at the beginning of the show last night on Monday Night Raw, Sheamus, Edge, and Drew are hold on, these are not the correct notes. Okay, so last night on Raw, Adam Pearce comes out first and talks about the Elimination Chamber. Then the returning of Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon comes out and make a blockbuster announcement, and he announced all the participants for the Elimination Chamber. It was Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Sheamus, of course, The Miz, and so on and so forth. But so that first match they had was Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. I have to give that match a 3. This is how it ended. Hardy hits the twist of fate on AJ Styles. AJ Styles, is laying down on the ground. Then Jeff Hardy goes up for the Swanton, but he takes so long just to get up there to hit the Swanton. And AJ Styles moves out the way, of course, and then that's when AJ Styles locks in the calf crusher for the second time, you guys, on Jeff Hardy. And Jeff Hardy would not tap. AJ Styles kept pulling that leg, just kind of kept moving it. And it ended up with Hardy just tapping out. And your winner of that match was no other than the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. So yeah, like I said, I give that match a 3. The match could have definitely been a whole lot better. Jeff Hardy, he's a veteran, of course, in the ring. He teaches all the younger talent. AJ Styles, not much different, but AJ Styles is a phenomenal wrestler. They gave him that perfect, he or himself or one of the wrestling promotions he been in, say he's the phenomenal one, and he truly indeed is the phenomenal one, because AJ Styles done went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, he done went to TNA Impact Wrestling, and so on and so forth, and now WWE. Many people said that AJ Styles wasn't going to make it to the big leagues, of course, but AJ Styles proved them wrong. And he appeared up in WWE a few years ago, making his debut at the Royal Rumble against the big dog, of course, what they used to call him, Roman Reigns. Now they call him the head of the table. So kudos to Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles in their match last night on Monday Night Raw. Second, they had Keith Lee was backstage. He was talking with Riddle about their match later last night. And Matt Riddle always coming up with little riddles and all that good stuff or whatever. But the second match happened. It was the New Day versus T-Bar and Slapjack of Retribution. So that match ended up with, oh goodness, you guys. Let's see, that match ended up with the New Day picking up the victory. And I'm talking about Mustafa Ali was so upset, you guys. He was like irate. I'm talking about he was yelling at Mace, and he was yelling at Slapjack, calling him stupid. And then at the end of the match, what's his name? Xavier Woods. He was like, we want to fight Reckoning. Where's Reckoning? He said, we done beat y'all. So where's Reckoning? So I was like, wow. So basically New Day won by hitting their finisher maneuver called the Daybreak. So on Slapjack, just to be specific. then there was a backstage thing where Sheamus and Adam Pearce are talking. Sheamus gets upset and saying, all the odds are, stacked against him and Drew, because he wants to face Drew 1-on-1, not in the Elimination Chamber. And so Sheamus just was like, well, this is gonna be all on you when I get injured and all that good stuff. But the Elimination Chamber, it definitely is a very bad structure. It's worse than a regular steel cage. I'm talking about you're like covered with chains and all that good stuff, and I'm like, man, then you're locked in like a pod door. I mean, y'all probably remember that time when Goldberg was way younger and there was Chris Jericho in the pod, and Chris Jericho, he was making funny faces at Goldberg. I think it was, and then once Chris Jericho got a pod, Goldberg ends up spearing Chris Jericho through the little pod thing, and the plexiglass popped. So yeah, it's really dangerous in the Elimination Chamber. That's why it has that name, Chamber. All right, so let's get down to the third match. It was Lacey Evans and Charlotte. They had to cut a little promo before their match. Ric Flair proclaims Lacey Evans will be the next Raw Women's Champion. And then Charlotte ends up coming out. Lacey tells Charlotte that she will be a better opponent than Asuka. And she was like, you're getting it all wrong. And Lacey Evans was like, us as wrestling fans and other people are thinking that Ric Flair and her have something going on. And saying that she wants, the only thing she wants is to just learn from the dirtiest player in the game, aka Ric Flair. But how that goes. And then that's when Charlotte was like, come on, was telling Lacey Evans, come on then. And then she ends up pushing Charlotte. And then the match breaks out. So at the end of the match, Charlotte pushes the ref, and the referee calls for the bell, as Charlotte had Lacey Evans basically in the corner, stumping her out, punching her, and then the referee was trying to break it up, and then she elbowed the referee. I was like, wow. So I have to give that match a 5-star match. These two competitors, they're great competitors. You have Charlotte Flair, which is the daughter of Ric Flair on one end, and then you have Lacey Evans, which is a former Marine. And with Charlotte and Lacey Evans, I could definitely possibly see them as a tag team. I know many of you don't, but in my opinion, I say Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair would be like the longest reigning tag team if they would ever put them together in a match. But don't look like we would see that. Also, Edge comes out, cuts a promo in the ring. So he talks more about who he picked to face at WrestleMania out of what, like, the current champions we have now. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, and then we have NXT Champion Finn Balor over in NXT. So he said he's undecided. He's going to wait after the dust blow over on the Elimination Chamber, just to see who could he pick from after then. Miz comes out, Angel Garza, of course. That was a surprise to see Angel Garza with the Miz. And then John Morrison comes out, of course, as well with them. Miz talks about cashing in on Edge. But, Edge ends up saying, you didn't know I was the one that put the WWE Money in the Bank contract, on the map. He was like, I was the one that invented that. And Edge was like, was telling him is he was like, you're gonna tell me what you're gonna do at WrestleMania to me? And then Miz was like so lost for words. He was like, I'm up here, I'm out here teaching, current champions and stuff or whatever. And Miz was lost for words. So Miz just walks out the ring, and I was like, wow. So the match that they had was on Angel Garza versus Damian Priest with the Miz on Miz and Morrison on Angel Garza in Angel Garza corner, and then they had Bad Bunny and in the and Damian Priest's corner, excuse me. So basically in that match, you guys, Bad Bunny ends up Miz and Morrison was over there beating down Damian Priest while Angel Garza, was trying to distract the referee. Bad Bunny takes the Miz briefcase off the corner and start banging it on the steel steps. As he bangs it on the steel steps, he started hollering at Miz and Morrison, and John Morrison runs after Bad Bunny in the ring. Bad Bunny gets out the ring and the referee sees John Morrison holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, and so he's like, Miz and Morrison to get out of here. And then so it ended up being Damian Priest, of course, with Bad Bunny picking up the victory for the second time. So hopefully, in that match right there, we already knew what was going to happen. I have to give that match a 2. Good job to Damian Priest on making his debut. I thought he was gonna make his debut on SmackDown, but apparently that did not happen. But hopefully they would definitely do something with Damian Priest. As months and years to come for him. Good job for him getting called up to the main roster. So we'll see what they're gonna do continuously with Damian Priest himself. Bianca Belair is backstage and talks about who would she pick for for her opponent. He was like, I want to pick the best. And so Asuka ends up walking up and saying that Lacey Evans and Bianca Belair and Lacey Evans basically says that Lacey is not ready for Asuka, and then Bianca Belair starts to, taunt Asuka, and basically was saying that she was ready for Asuka. So we still don't know who Edge or Bianca Belair will pick to face. The fifth match they had last night on Raw was Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee. It was a great match. I have to give that match a 5-star match. These two competitors were great in the ring. So Keith Lee ends up hitting the Spirit Bomb like very high on Matt Riddle. I'm still gonna call him Matt Riddle. So after the match was over, that's when Keith Lee and Matt Riddle, shake hands, and Keith Lee goes over and stares over the rope at MVP on commentary. And out of nowhere, Bobby Lashley just comes over, picks up. I'm talking about he picked up Keith Lee with one hand and just slammed him down. It was like a one-hand spine buster or something, but without grabbing you. It was just one-hand spine buster. He threw him into the steel steps, to the ring post. And then he had and then Bobby Lashley had Matt Riddle for the Hurt Lock once again. So basically, deja vu from last week, but without getting thrown over the barricade though. So Keith Lee has to get ready for Bobby Lashley. Cause Bobby Lashley, I have never seen Bobby Lashley like this before, but we would definitely see more Bobby Lashley in a vicious mode right now. So I really was hoping he was going to be able to get in the Elimination Chamber, because he definitely deserved it by the performance that he's putting on right now. Sixth match they had was Nia Jax versus Nia Jax versus Lana last night, and with the Nia Jax versus Lana, it was actually a tables match, and Nia Jax end up getting pushed outside the ring by Lana, and she failed and hurt herself, and it was a funny thing that everyone pointed out last night, that I received texts, emails, and stuff from people, and people were saying, and I caught it at the last minute. She was like my hole, and I know everybody went laughing, and that's when Lana ended up grabbing Nia Jax and throwing her to the table, and Nia Jax ended up winning. So then they had so then it was like Shayna Baszler goes in there and started attacking Lana, and Naomi comes in and attacks Shayna Baszler, and so they end up having a match. So basically, Shayna Baszler end up losing to Naomi, so Naomi won last night against Shayna Baszler. So it was I wouldn't give that match a rating, because we already seen that coming after Lana put Nia Jax to the table. So Naomi won last night basically by a roll up on won basically by a roll up on Shayna Baszler. The seventh match they had last night, which was the main event, which was Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. At the end, Sheamus comes out, tries to bro kick Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre steps out the way, and Sheamus ends up kicking Randy Orton in the face, and then McIntyre ran in the corner so fast, just as Sheamus turns around to get Claymore by Drew McIntyre. So that's what happened on Raw last night, you guys. My rating for the whole show of, let's say, 1 out of 10, I have to give it a 7, because they're basically kind of copying SmackDown, because SmackDown actually be having more matches than talk on their show, and basically that's what Raw had last night. But thank you all for tuning in to Chris Wrestling Views. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to all my videos. Make sure you hit that notification bell and click all, so you won't miss any of my videos, especially when I go live. And if you want to ask me questions, anything that you want to see on Chris Wrestling Views, also make sure that you reach out to me down in the comment section below as well. So thank you all for tuning in to Chris Wrestling Views. Gotta go to work right now, you guys. I will see y'all later, and that'll be it.